uncle was at the hospital, but I had never been to the one in Martinsburg. It was a humbling and honoring opportunity to be there, to be able not only to be with my friend, but to share with others there, and to be able to kind of go through the hospital and just see that everything that takes place there, everything from mental health to taking care of the flu, everything happens in that big hospital. And it was humbling for me and honoring for me to be there and just see everything and the people that are there and what goes on. So I kind of wanted to share with you that this morning. To start, what is the true meaning of Memorial Day? Memorial Day is a somber national holiday in the U.S. dedicated to honoring and mourning the men and women who have died while serving the U.S. military. It is a time for reflection on their sacrifices and a moment to express gratitude for their service. Always thank God for allowing me to share. I love teaching. I love having an opportunity to teach. So thank you for allowing me to teach this morning. I'd like to start off with a story. A taxi driver goes to heaven. A pastor and a taxi driver both died and go to heaven. St. Peter is at the pearly gates waiting for them. He said to them, "Come with me," said St. Peter. To the taxi driver did as he was told and followed St. Peter to a mansion. It had everything you could imagine, from a bowling alley to an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And the taxi driver said, "Wow." "Thank you," said the taxi driver. Next, St. Peter led the pastor to a rugged old shack with a bunk bed and a little old television. The pastor said, "Shouldn't I be the one getting the mansion? After all, I was a pastor. We went to church every day and I preached God's word." "Yes, that's true," said St. Peter. "But during your sermons, people slept. When the taxi driver drove, everyone prayed." Today's message is entitled Uncompromising Faith, and it comes from the book of Daniel, chapter 3, verses 1 through 30, if you'd like to go there. Being a Christian is not always comfortable. Just ask Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these young men are recorded in the book of Daniel and are known for their exclusive devotion to God. In particular, they are known for being saved by divine intervention to God. In particular, they are known for being saved by divine intervention from the Babylon execution of being burned alive in a fiery furnace. They were 3 young Jews of royal or noble birth from the kingdom of Judea, who along with Daniel were inducted into Babylon when Jerusalem was occupied by the Babylonians under the campaign of the king Nebuchadnezzar. As was common at the time, King Nebuchadnezzar built a huge golden image and commanded all the people to fall down and worship it whenever they heard the sound of his musical herald. Anyone who failed to bow and worship the image would be thrown into an immense flaming furnace. Think for a minute about these guys. They were young, were just like us. They had dreams and hopes for the future, and they wanted to live. And all of a sudden, they are faced with an unbelievable choice. All you have to do is bow down this one time, just like everyone else. Bow down and worship this idol, and then everything will be okay. But if you don't do this one thing, it's game over and you will die. Burned alive, what would you do? Most likely, in my mind, I would quickly start rationalizing all the reasons why it's probably a good idea to worship the idol. It's easy to start sliding toward rationalization. The problem is, when we rationalize one time, we can rationalize 2 times, and so on. Then before long, we simply are living a life of compromise. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were determined to worship the one true God. Only thus were reported to the king. Courageously, they stood before him as the king pressured the young men to deny their God. They said, furious with rage and pride, Nebuchadnezzar ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than normal. The fiery furnace, when it's not small, it was a household oven or professional size oven. It was a huge chamber used to smelt minerals or bake bricks for construction. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were bound and cast into the flames. The fiery blast was so hot that it killed the soldiers who had escorted them to the furnace. But as King Nebuchadnezzar peered into the furnace, he marveled at what he saw. But I see 4 men unbound walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the appearance of the 4th is like the Son of God. Who was the 4th man? Nebuchadnezzar saw in the flames. Whether he was an angel or a manifest of Christ, we can't be certain, but that his appearance was miraculous and supernatural. We can have no doubt God had provided a heavenly bodyguard to be with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego during their intense time of need. Then the king called the men to come out of the furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego emerged unharmed, without even a hair on their heads singed or the smell of smoke on their clothing. Needless to say, this made quite an impression on the king Nebuchadnezzar, who declared, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants, who trusted in him and set aside the king's command and yielded up the bodies rather than serve and worship any god except their own God." Through God's miraculous deliverance of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that day, the fest of the Israelites in captivity were given. Freedom to worship, protection from the harm of the king, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego received a royal promotion. In closing, a faith that is tested by fire is a faith that can be trusted. Let's say you pray and you pray and you pray and you believe with everything in you that God will answer that prayer, and He doesn't. Can your faith be handled? Can your faith handle the fiery trial of an unanswered prayer? God's miraculous intervention is a moment of crisis is not promised. If we were, the believers would not need to exercise faith. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego trusted God and determined to be faithful without any guarantee of deliverance. When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego courageously took their stand before Nebuchadnezzar, they didn't know with uncertainty that God would deliver them. They had no assurance they would survive the flames. But they stood firm anyway in the face of death. Could you boldly declare, as these three young men did, whether God rescues me or not, I will stand for Him. I will not compromise my faith, and I will not deny my Lord, no matter what. Thank you for allowing me to share this morning. Yep. Our next hymn is hymn 572, America the Beautiful. Please stand.